Thank you very much, Camelia. I will share my presentation. Now it should be right. I would like to congratulate Camelia to the perfect announcement of the association I am connected to. We often say that we are at IEA with the E for education, so that's the right. We are using a lot of energy in our work, but our IEA is with E for education. It was originated by scholars out of their curiosity to learn how and what could work in education. As time passed, the body of IEA is much more diverse. And we have members that are not only scholars from universities, but they are public or civil workers from ministries of education. They are researchers from independent research institutions. We are still non-governmental and non-for-profit institution that is engaged with researching education and finding out some knowledge, some interesting pieces that could be of importance or of interest to other stakeholders in the field of education, including, of course, the most important practitioners for education, the teachers. Our work in educational research is very hands-on and very relying on our colleagues from countries. In these pictures, you can see, first of all, how complicated and difficult it is to get on picture all people involved. We have various opportunities to contribute to the study, from creation of study frameworks to writing regional reports. And these pictures are just a little bit of illustration of colleagues that are connected to IEA studies. Since the origin, we were very much attached to the field of education. We are interested in what is written, what is the intended curriculum at the national level. We are also thinking it's very important how this is enacted. So we are curious about the context in schools and in classrooms and how the curriculum is implemented. At the end, of course, we see results of our students. That's for us attained curriculum. But today we will speak about one study where it is not at all only about knowledge. What we need to learn, understand, and master goes beyond the knowledge. It's also our attitude, our opinion, and how we behave, what matters. With our studies, we have 4 very important trend studies. Very important is the trend, because very often we cannot see in this complex context of education how things are connected or how they work. But when time passes and we can see the difference in time and in context, we may find some reasons and some solutions. So as Camelia mentioned, we have a TIMS study that is dedicated to mathematics and science. We have Pearl study that is concerned with reading comprehension. We have our beloved civic and citizenship study that we will speak much more today. And then we have international computer and information literacy study. You will see that they have been originated in different times. They have different cycle to follow. They have different grades of students represented, as well as we have different curricula covered and arrangements within schools, how those subjects are taught or matters are taught. Our civic and citizenship study is located at the grade 8, meaning the average year of students is 13.5 years. This study started prior, it was called civic and citizenship study. We had in early years 6-subject study that was looking into this area. We had 1999, 2001 study also dedicated to citizenship education. But this is study that is offering some trends, some contents that remains the same, and some new development that was occurring through the years we implemented the study. As I was presenting, we are not only interested in results or findings about the students. So we are not only administering tests and questionnaires to students. We are seeking information from teachers, and we are concerned about the input of school principals. So you can see how many colleagues, how many people actually supported the study by providing their responses. It was huge. Our focus areas that were kind of novel to the last study were 5. However, the most important for this webinar was environmental sustainability. And within this, we found that students were highly concerned. 90% of students found this theme as a crucial and were concerned by things that are happening, or rather, we can say not happening yet in the field. I would like to show you the map. The map is not only pointing out where our ICCS 2022 participants were located, but you can also see that over the years, there were a lot of support to the study and a lot of participation in previous rounds of the study. If you see your country represented, for sure there are information available in international reports that you can find through IA webpage. When we are conducting study, the most importantly, of course, we need to get organized. So first document is framework. Then we need a lot of manuals and survey operation procedures to be distributed and enacted by participating countries. But at the end, there is international study report. There are data sets, databases with user guides and technical reports describing the data in details. We felt for a long time that we are missing kind of publication that would be more useful to teachers, because we actually value their work, and we understand that they have other targets that needs to be followed. So we decided to create a little contribution where we will highlight parts of our information collected that we think could be of their interest. And for ICCS study, we kindly ask our dear colleague Valeria and her colleagues to look into this topic. And now I am passing floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paula, and thank you, Camelia. And first of all, let me say that I'm really happy to be here and have this possibility to share with you and to talk with you about the teacher snippet. Now I'm going to share my screen. I hope you see it in full. Okay, so before diving into the teacher snippet, I would like to talk with you a little bit more about the ICCS, so the International Civic and Citizenship Education Study, connecting my first part of the presentation to what Paula just said. Then we will go into the details of the teacher snippet, and at the end, I will provide you with some insights about the Italian scenario on education for sustainable development at 8th grade. So first of all, what does ICCS, the International Civic and Citizenship Education Study, assess? This is a very important question, of course, and we will see how the overall structure of ICCS is, of course, connected with the structure of the teacher snippet and with the data we have selected for the snippet itself. So as Paula was saying, ICCS is not only about the assessment of students' civic knowledge, because as you can see from this little graph, student civic learning outcomes are a result of a mixture of student civic knowledge, but also their civic attitudes and their civic engagement. So the baseline, the foundations of the study is these three dimensions of civic and citizenship education made up of civic knowledge, attitudes, and engagement. All together, combined, they are related to civic learning. So ICCS aims at measuring these three dimensions of civic and citizenship education, plus some contextual factors that help us in understanding what is going on, the scenario in which student civic learning outcomes take place. And these contextual factors are the individual characteristic of the students, of course, their families and the relations with peers, the context at school and classroom level, and the wider community, that is the local community in which the school is located, but also, as Paula was saying, the national regulation of the education system in the country that is participating in ICCS. So all these elements are related to the three levels of curriculum that Paula was referring to, so the intended, the implemented, and the achieved curriculum. And ICCS gauges, measures all these aspects through different instruments. So the International Cognitive Test, of course, in relation to what students know about civic and citizenship education related issues. And it is targeted, of course, to the target with students of the study, so students at grade 8 or equivalent. Then we also have the international student questionnaires that has a double function. On the one hand, to measure student attitudes that, as I just said, it's another aspect of a student civic learning outcome. But on the other hand, also it aims at measuring a student's home and peer context and personal characteristics that explain us researchers, but also the wider community, to understand what are the associations and the variables that can be related to civic learning outcomes. Then we have the teacher questionnaire and the school questionnaires. These two instruments are, of course, aimed at gathering information on what is happening at the classroom and at the school level. The school questionnaire is answered by school principals, while the teacher's questionnaire is answered by teachers at target grade, but teaching any subject independently from civic and citizenship education. Plus, we have an international option devoted to civic and citizenship education teachers only. This is very important information to be kept in mind, because in the teacher snippet, we have used data from both aspects, both sections of the teacher questionnaire. So the first part of the questionnaire it was submitted to all teachers independently of their of the subject taught, because the idea is that all teachers are involved in delivering citizenship education at the target grade in relation to some issues related to school and classroom climate and student participation, activities in the local community, but also activities related to environmental sustainability. Because we can also have, the math teachers or science teachers who decide to devote some time of their classes to tackle issues related to ESD. Plus, we have the international option, and this is devoted to civic and citizenship education teachers only. And in this section, we have asked teachers some specific questions about the methodologies they use for teaching civic and citizenship education, the assessment methods, the materials they have adopted during their classes, the opportunities to learn their students have, and so on and so forth. In the teacher snippets, so we have used both, we have data and information from both these sections. And then we have a very particular instrument that characterizes ICCS among the different IEA studies, that is the regional student questionnaire. So ICCS adopts a specific questionnaire for civic-related issues that are deemed relevant at the regional level. So, for example, for ICCS 2022, we had the European student questionnaires that tackled issues that were relevant for European countries. Sustainability, as Paula was saying, is a new focus area in ICCS 2022. Here you have a broad overview of all the aspects and dimensions related to sustainability that have been measured across the different instruments. So in the international student questionnaires, we have student participation in the wider community in projects related to sustainability, report about civic learning at school on sustainability, their positive attitudes toward environmental protection, and their expected participation in environmental protection activities. In the school questionnaire, we have asked principals about, again, the activities in the community related to sustainability, their reports on environment-friendly practices at schools, and their activities at the school level to promote education for sustainable development and global citizenship education. We've asked school principals and teachers about their views on civic and citizenship education aims, and we will see in the teacher snippet how this is relevant in relation for education for sustainable development. And again, in the teacher questionnaires, we have several questions related to sustainability concerning activities related to sustainability issues, teachers' preparedness for teaching sustainability, their professional development activities for teaching also sustainability, and as I said before, their students' opportunities to learn about sustainability. Another aspect that is important here and we will see this in the teacher snippet, is that we have analyzed education for sustainable development in connection, of course, with the civic and citizenship education curriculum. So as you can see here from these questions, these are broader questions in which education for sustainable development is a part of a wider spectrum of topics that can be tackled within civic and citizenship education. And of course, we have some specific questions that are concerned only on education for sustainable development, but the broader picture, of course, includes education for sustainable development within civic and citizenship education curriculum. And we will see this in a minute in the teacher's snippet. A very, very brief overview of the main findings from ICCS 2022. This is a very, the key findings, but there is much more in the reports. Of course, we have to start from the proficiency in civic knowledge of the students from the countries involved. And civic knowledge increased between the first and the second cycle of ICCS, but we observed a decrease between the second and the third cycle, so ICCS 2022. We also observed that there is more variation within countries than across the participating countries, and that there are strong association between higher levels of civic knowledge and female students, so girls perform better, students coming from higher socioeconomic status, and students coming from non-immigrant families. In relation to civic attitudes and engagement, as we said, the other two dimensions that constitute civic learning, we have also observed a decline, that the student transfer institution has declined between ICCS 2016 and 2022, as well as the expected active political participation. We have observed again here a decline. But on the other hand, we also found out that there was an increase and a strong endorsement from students in relation to gender equality, the support for equal rights for immigrants and for all ethnic groups in society. And also we observed high levels of support from students in relation to environmental protection, and student expected participation in activities to protect the environment was found positively associated with civic knowledge. So the more students know about civic related issues, the more they express their future participation in activities to protect the environment. What happens at school and in the classroom? Again, very quick and brief findings from the latest round of ICCS. Civic and citizenship education is delivered differently across the different education systems. So we have an integrated approach with selected subject, mainly social science subject, but it is also taught as a separate subject, and it is an extracurricular activity. Students were on average quite involved in school life, especially in the participation in decision-making progress, and were possible through student selections. And positive classroom climates that are open for discussion are quite present in the different educational systems, according to the students' opinion. This is another very important information that we will tackle also, we will see also in the teacher snippets. And then there are several activities and opportunities for students to learn and to practice civic and citizenship education beyond the school walls. And we will see this also in a minute in the teacher snippet. And there are also several activities carried out at the school level related to environmental sustainability and to global citizenship education. These two areas are sometimes measured in parallel across the different instruments. If you are curious and wanted to know more, you can easily find the three most important, or at least the ones that have been released so far, publications related to ICCS 2022. So as Paola was saying, the assessment framework, which provides you with an overview of the study design and of the concepts of the dimensions that are measured with the study. So the conceptualization of civic and citizenship education and of education for sustainable development is in this first book. And then we have the international reports, which dives into the most important and with several details and analysis on the results at the civic learning level, civic knowledge level, attitudes, student civic engagement, and school and classroom context. And then we have the regional questionnaire related to student attitudes and engagement at the European level. And everything is online on the IEA website. So without further ado, let's now dive into the teacher snippet and how the teacher snippet is, of course, linked to this first part of my presentation. So first of all, we have started from the definition by UNESCO of education for sustainable development, which is also the definition adopted by the ICCS study. And the definition, of course, includes different dimensions related to education for sustainable development: knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes. And these dimensions are connected to the three pillars of education for sustainable development: the economic, the social, and the environmental pillars. ICCS is mostly focused on the environmental aspect of education for sustainable development, and we will see this in the teacher snippet as well, because the target grade students of the study of course, allowed to go into a more detail and to tackle issues that are more related to the environment in comparison with the social and the economic dimension. Before talking about the teacher snippet, I would like you to ask you a brief question in relation to the sustainability citizen. So what is your opinion? Who is the sustainability citizen in your mind? I don't know whether you have tried Menti before. To answer this question, you can go to menti.com and you have to type this code 377849888, and then you should see, now I will you should see this question. So I'm asking you, who is the sustainability citizen? Please identify 2 key features needed to foster learners' competence to become sustainable citizen. So if you're thinking of, a sustainability citizen, what kind of knowledge or skills on or attitudes or disposition to actions should this sustainability citizen have? We can, use like 2 minutes to collect some ideas. If you have problems using Mentimeter, you can use the chat, no problem. So, okay, thank you, Laura. Okay, future literacy, caring, brave, active engagement, thoughtfulness. Okay. I like the future literacy. Compassionate learner, okay, methods. Okay, so yeah, sustainable development goals. So exactly the knowledge. So thank you so much. We'll come back to my presentation. So from the answers you gave, there are several dimensions, of course, that are connected to the sustainability citizens. Of course, the knowledge dimension, but also all the dimensions related to the engagement, so the action, but also the skills and the disposition. And this is actually the idea that was at the heart of the Teacher Snippets. As you see from the title, Teachers for Change. The word change is at the heart of the document. And change is a very key word in relation to education for sustainable development. Because when we're talking about change in the classroom and in the teaching and learning process, we are talking about four main aspects. I mean, I have chosen these four aspects because these are the aspects that are included in ICCS and that we have used for structuring the Teacher Snippet. So first of all, the possibility to imagine change. So teachers as key actors to promote the exploration of alternative futures, which is the overall aim of education for sustainable development. In order to achieve this, teachers need to use the so-called transformative pedagogy. So transforming teaching and learning into participatory, reflective, and learning-centered learning environments. We cannot imagine and implement change with our students without putting the students at the center of the teaching and learning process. And then the teachers are not alone in delivering this kind of change, because the different frameworks and theoretical frameworks on education for sustainable development usually address a holistic approach for education for sustainable development. And this is the case of ICCS too, and the view that we have adopted in the Teacher Snippet. So the Teacher Snippet is focused on the teachers, so what's happening at the classroom level. But if you have a look at the questions that we have asked teachers and the results we gained, we understand that a lot is going on beyond the classroom. So in relation to the activities with the local community and at the school level. So the holistic approach is this kind of approach that puts together classroom, school, and out of the school context. And then the change, in order to promote change, we need to promote action. So to use students' knowledge, attitudes, values, and skills to engage students in action. So these are the four pillars of our Teacher Snippet that are, concerned, that are focused on the idea of change. And these four pillars are, again, operationalized, or at least more focused on four big areas. So the knowledge and awareness of global and local interconnections, that is one part of the Teacher Snippet. The possibility for students to learn through action inside and outside the school. The possibility to develop a cross-curricular approach for education for sustainable development, and the adoption of student-centered teaching strategies. All these aspects implies the students at the center of the teaching and learning process, as I said, the development of knowledge, attitudes, skills, and behaviors, the possibility to provide students with multiple viewpoints, and at the end also to take action. So as you will see, and also we had a quick look at the teacher snippet structure in the Paula's last slide. The teacher snippet is structured into 4 sections. Each section has some post-it that highlight the most important data that we have selected from the wealth of data of ICCS, and these data helped us in focusing on the most important and key aspect of education for sustainable development within the civic and citizenship education curriculum. So, for example, 81% of students internationally, we found out that 81% of the students reported that they have learned how to protect the environment through the wide range of activities, for example, energy saving and recycling. And then more than half of the teachers, 60% of them internationally, have carried out activities to build student awareness around excessive resource consumption and its environmental impact. These are all the teachers at the target grade, independently from the subject taught. So these data, these results stressed once again the importance of linking the global to the local in teaching activities, and that focusing the teaching on the impact of student individual lifestyle it is something that is very common and adopted widely across schools and classroom, and it's also could be one of the key features for implementing education for sustainable development. Again, another section of the teacher snippet is focused on what is happening between school and the out of school and the local community. Again, more than half of the teachers internationally, so independent from the subject taught, reported that they have carried out activities related to environmental sustainability in the local community. This was one of the highest percentages in relation to the different activities that teachers can carry out in collaboration with external groups or organization out beyond the school walls. And in fact, in relation to education for sustainable development, the local community can be and is a valuable resource that offers students the opportunity to investigate real-life sustainability issues. So teachers can enhance student active involvement through the collaboration with the external group and association on activities and projects related to environmental sustainability. Another aspect, other two results, key findings that we deem relevant for inclusion in the teacher snippet are related to the importance that all the teachers assigned to education for sustainable development. Almost half of them reported that promoting respect and safeguarding of the environment is one of the most important aims of civic and citizenship education. And almost all of them, 87% of teachers internationally reported that they have worked with students on issues and topics related to environmental sustainability, such as climate change, work poverty, and child labor. These two results provide us two main points of attention. The first one is that it is relevant for teachers to provide students with opportunities to deal with the complexity of ESD from multiple perspectives. And that means across the curriculum, developing an integrated and a cross-curricular approach for education for sustainable development, as it is in many educational systems for civic and citizenship education. And then what is happening in the classroom in relation to teachers' methods and approaches and activities. 77% of them reported that they have often or very often discussed current issues during civic-related activities in the classroom. This was a question that was part of the international option So the one that was submitted only to teachers of civic and citizenship education. So the discussion of current issue is one of the most adopted activities that are implemented in the classroom. And in order to implement these kind of activities, of course, there are several aspects to be concerned of, and one of the most important of them, of course, is open classroom climate for discussion. That is key, of course, to implement student-centered teaching process in order to make classroom safe and inclusive spaces in which students can freely express their opinions and tackle controversial issues. And this also leads to the possibility, again, to offer multiple viewpoints for civic and citizenship education and education for sustainable development. My very last slide, because I've talked too much, I want to connect the wide picture of ICCS, so this complex research study, with the teacher snippet and with the Italian educational scenario. With LUMSA University in Rome, we've carried out several initiatives at the national levels for teachers, in-service teachers on in-service training about civic and citizenship education and education for sustainable development. And in relation to the 4 pillars of the teacher snippet, Italian teachers are struggling with some aspects. For example, learning through action inside and outside school. Italian teachers often struggles with the multiple one-shot activities that are seldom quite detached from formal school learning and are considered by students, just one shot activity with an NGO or with an external group or organization. Italian teachers are willing to implement student-centered teaching strategies, and they do actually. This is quite, present in the national guidelines. But for example, the assessment of these student-centered teaching strategies is another challenging aspect for them. In addition to this, building positive classroom climate in order to enhance discussion and positive relations in the classroom is another difficult aspect. The cross-curricular implementation is recommended for civic and citizenship education and education for sustainable development at the national level. But again, especially in lower secondary school, teachers face difficulties in organizing collaborative work among them beyond the boundaries of subjects. So implementing a real cross-curricular approach for civic and citizenship education and education for sustainable development. And again, last but not least, when providing students with opportunities to develop their knowledge and awareness of global and local interconnection, it is again very challenging for teachers to provide them with real life issues, scenarios in which civic knowledge or knowledge about sustainability can be turned into meaningful attitudes and action. So I don't know whether I talked too much. So if we want to,
thank you, Valeria.
Talk a little bit more about the challenges related to education for sustainable development, or we can leave it for the very last part of the presentation, and I will give the floor to Eva.
I would suggest that we leave all the questions to the end. Eva, the floor is yours. You have to unmute yourself.
Sorry, now it should be okay. It's really my pleasure to be here today with all of you. I was introduced as National Research Coordinator for several IA studies, which is true, but I need to admit that I like to speak the most about ICCS results. I'm not telling you this because of the group that is now here on the webinar, which I guess you're all a little bit emotional towards the about the civic and citizenship education in general, and I guess also about environmental and other dimensions of sustainability. But actually, I decided to be a teacher because of one subject of civic and citizenship education in my elementary school in grade 7. So you can see that I still have some emotional bond with this topic. So my presentation today will be really short, so please don't run away. I hope that you see the second slide because previously I had some technical issues.
We see it.
So, great. I structured my presentation today. I would like to answer why Slovenia adopted the teacher snippet, how we made it a little bit more accessible for national use, for teachers, or also possible other stakeholders in education. I also collected some feedbacks from teachers and principals about usability of the teacher snippet, and especially I was interested which results were the most surprising for our teachers. So as you see on the right side of the panel, it is in Slovene. It is actually the teacher snippet that we translated in our national language to be more accessible to teachers, for teachers to really understand everything what is inside. What we adapted actually is we add some national percentages, so the teachers can see what is reported on international level and what was reported from teachers in Slovenia. Also, we adapted some national terminology. When we are defining civic and citizenship education teachers across countries, each participating country can define which subject teachers are perceived as CCA teachers. Just a second. Yeah. So how we did it actually, this teacher snippet, more accessible for national use. First, we send a physical copy via mail to all ICCS school coordinators, which is around 174 school coordinators nationally. But I need to admit something. Our ministry is really pleased when we are sending some short information for teachers and so on. So I was really eager to immediately report that we are translating for the first time. This was our first teacher snippet that we decided to be translated and immediately sent to schools via schools coordinator and then the policy officer at the ministry, she asked me, so you will print this on laminated paper, but the topic is environmental sustainability. I need to admit that I perceive myself as a highly sustainable, aware person, but I didn't even realize what I did with this kind of approach. Accessibility for national use is also via our national website. And I'm also providing a blog for teachers. You can see this on the right side of the panel. It is in Slovene language, so most probably it's not so understandable. But you can see really on the downside of the panel, we introduced teacher snippets besides sending them to schools and so on. There is a plan for a future that also our national Juridici unit will distribute via their address emails and how they're distributing other informations to schools and other stakeholders. So we are going into slightly cooperation with Eurydice unit to be really more widely nationally accessible. And this will not be only for teacher snippet, it will be also for other material that is provided by the IA, beside the international reports, of course, and translated in Slovene language. So the feedback that I collected from principals and CCA teachers. In Slovenia, we are defining CCA teachers as teachers of subject patriotic and citizenship, culture and ethics, subject history, geography, and Slovene language. So first I will really go, because I think this is most probably the most interesting part of today's presentation, the feedbacks. So I somehow categorize the feedbacks into general feedbacks, then surprises, and also usability of the teacher snippet. You can see 3 colors with green, or it looks a little bit more bluish. Those are the feedbacks from geography teachers. In orange, you can see feedbacks from teachers of this subject that we have, patriotic and citizenship, culture and ethics. And in a little bit more reddish, you can find the feedback of our principals. So I was a little bit surprised. Let's start with the principals. That they immediately, when I asked them about general feedback, they immediately thought about the students. So they said that it is very important the students receive information in such a condensed form, because it is actually impossible to expect that they would be able to extract the essence on their own, because they are overwhelmed with a lot of information otherwise. For our principals, the most interesting part was also a comparison of the results between Slovenia and internationally. They found this as very welcomed and interesting. And they also see the possibility, or if they also receive such a condensed information, they can really encourage teachers to integrate the topic into the lessons in different subjects, not only in civic and citizenship education subject, but as Valeria already said, also targeted teachers for ICCS study. They are not only teachers of CCA subjects, but math, science, languages, all subjects that are taught in the grade 8 in all countries except Norway. The target grade there is grade 9. And what about, let's say, a little bit more focused teachers, because we know that in our subject, patriotic and citizenship, culture and ethics, the most of the topics that are covered by the ICCS study are actually covered in this compulsory subject. Those teachers see providing that kind of information, which they were able to capture from the teacher snippet, really added value because of their illustrative nature. And they also see the added value in comparisons between, again, very similar like principles, in comparisons between Slovenia and the international contexts. So what was the most surprising when they saw the teacher snippet? And I need to say that all of the surprises were really negative. We can again start with the principals. They were negatively surprised that that Slovenia was below the international averages for almost all items that they were presented around sustainability issues in teacher snippet. And somehow, some of them, they even added that placing the student at the center of the teaching and learning process, which was also a little bit below international average, was really shocking for them. Geography teachers, they said that the most surprising from all the data that they received was that only 46% of CCA teachers reported that their students work often or very often in small groups. This was also shared the same feeling, the same surprise was also shared with the teachers of CCA, the most focused subject in Slovenia, which is, I already mentioned, subject of patriotic and citizenship, culture and ethics. So they quietly added what it was even more surprising. They added the explanation that working in a small group is very important because students are they can be very active, productive, expressing their own opinions, arguing their point of views, and analyzing the data that they get from different sources. And another surprising information for our teachers was also that only 44% teachers reported that their students often or very often search or analyze information gathered from different web sources. They were in all these percentages that I was mentioning, they were really expecting higher or at least slightly higher percentages and not to be below the international average. So I also think that this was a little bit shocking because they were as I said, almost all percentages below the international averages. And usability or usage, where they can see and how they can use the teacher snippet or information that were presented in this form. The civic and the teacher of patriotic and citizenship, culture and ethics, he said that he will for sure take into account the results of those ICCS and teacher snippet when he will planning his own lessons. The teachers of geography, they see teacher snippet and how it was presented actually a good starting point for concrete environmental actions and engagement or importance to things about even more structured engagement with the local community when they are planning activities to achieve the sustainability goals. This was also, I didn't put it here on the slide, but this was also shared how important is engagement between school and local community when the topics of environmental or other two dimensions or sustainability are taken into account, how this is important, that schools really cooperate with the local community. For principals, in addition, they see that kind of information are very useful when they're planning a yearly working plan, because they can receive focused results and background in the research actually, so they can have some kind of the data that are backing their working plans for their school. And cross-curricular topic was also expressed, not only by principals, but also by our teachers of different subjects. So what I would like to conclude with, actually glancing from all the results, not only those presented in the specific teacher snippet that was presented today, I need to say that from the results of ICCS as an entire study, we can see that environmental sustainability in the classroom, our students, no matter what the results are, they still have a lot of opportunities to learn about environmental sustainability. But there is some lack of information regarding social and economic dimension of sustainability, which I think in the future we need to give a special attention to those two remaining dimensions of sustainability. That's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. Thanks so much for all these 3 great presentations. We're a little over time, but perhaps you can stay on for a couple of